Good evening, I'm Robert Benchley, and I'm very happy to be here tonight. I was actually supposed to become earlier in the program, so I apologize for being a bit late, but I have a very good excuse. You see, we recently went back on the daylight savings time, and I haven't changed my clocks. Yes, I realize I was all over 3 weeks ago, but you see, I don't believe in daylight savings time. I don't care what the reasons for it are, I don't believe in it. Timekeeping is a difficult enough matter without having to deal with an extra hour plus or minus. And don't get me started on time zones. Just the fact that if it's, say, noon here in California, it's 9 o'clock at night in Paris has always troubled me, and I've been inclined not to believe it. And the problem gets worse the further west you go, because they would have us believe when you cross the international date line you lose a whole day, which I very much doubt. And if at the same time daylight savings time is just going into effect, you lose a day and an hour. I suppose if someone were to come along and say so, you lose a day and an hour and a minute. The thing could easily be made absurd. Well, it's because of this kind of absurdity that I'm in full sympathy of Holland's attitude when time zones were first introduced. Or maybe you don't know what Holland's attitude was. It was in 1879 that a busybody named Stanford Fleming put forward his plan to divide up the whole Earth into 24 standard meridians, each an hour apart, starting from Greenwich, England. This is what started all the trouble, and made it possible for people at a wild party in California at midnight to call up someone in New York and wake him out of a 3 a.m. slumber to say, "Hello, you big bum, you! Guess who this is?" Well, all the nations accepted this crazy scheme except Holland. They saw no reason to mess around with meridians when there's so much trouble in the world as it was, and is. So Holland stood out against the whole rest of the world and for years kept their own time. And as a result, they stayed out of World War I. And to this day make delicious cheeses and tulip bulbs. So you see? My plan is to be a sort of mini Holland and to stay on the standard time that I know and love so well. When you come right down to it, I don't like time. I never have. And if it gives me much more trouble, I'm going to break all the clocks and watches in my house and just drift along, playing the mandolin and humming. I'm much too busy a man to be always worried about figuring out what time it is.